Welcome to the Flat Track Factory and a short introduction to TT style flat track racing. So this is the Slide Ranch Special. First of all, what is Slide Ranch? It's a TT style or road racing in the dirt for mini bikes, flat track style. I am not sponsored by them. They are not endorsing this. They haven't asked for this necessarily. I'm just a guest like you and enjoy racing, riding, racing flat track style mini bikes. And this is a place in Eastern North Carolina to do it. If you're lucky enough to get an invite, you'll have a blast. So last time I was there, I was asked to do a little Q&A after the riders meeting, and there were some fun questions that came up that made me inspired to make this video if you're planning on going to do this type of riding to answer some of the frequently asked questions. So what is TT style flat track? In my experience, racing it involves an oval pinched down so there can be a right hand corner and a jump. Typically, the type of riding that you'll be doing today is not going to include the jump, or the jump will be just a little bit of a roller. Want to keep things on the ground a little bit. We'll talk about body position, brake usage, some line selection, and maybe some tires. So you'll be a little bit more prepared on your first day or your first couple of days. So body position. I've gone over this extensively. There's a 3 or 4 video series that I'm going to put links to the video, those videos in the description. I don't. That's a 40-minute discussion that I don't want to bog this down with. If you're interested in that, all of those flat track style of riding positions that we talk about are relevant. But here is a quick primer anyway. Your body position is going to be upright and forward, upright and forward. The steering stem of the motorcycle is going to need to come towards your core. You're going to be sitting up towards the gas cap. Now, this does not mean scooching up and hunching over the front of the motorcycle. We see that a lot, particularly because many of you will be coming from road racing. And while this is very similar to road racing in the inputs that we do, uh, we our body position is going to be slightly more neutral, for lack of a better phrase. So we're not going to be hyper committed to the inside of the motorcycle unless we're on the gas. So that's the second video in my body position series called Movement, where things can be a little contradictory because we actually do move to the inside of the motorcycle, but only when we're on the gas. Again, I don't want to get into all of that to bog this down too much. Those of you that really want to nerd out about body position, please watch those other videos. But again, generally speaking, to ride successfully, we want to weight the front of the motorcycle, be neutral. On a mini bike, you're going to be tempted to give yourself some room and scoot too far back. I can just pretty much tell you, everybody scoot a foot farther forward. If you're comfortable on the bike sitting there in the pits, you're too far back. You need to be scooted up to ride. You can do various other little body movements we talk about in the movement video, but that's generally speaking. So the bike will, to go left, you'll have a shovel style of hold on the bars, elbow up on the outside, inside arm down, and bike will go down to the inside. Conversely, to the right hand turn, you'll be up on top of the motorcycle, bike push down, left elbow up. Front brake. This is an interesting question. You've seen the drone footage, and we'll probably do a little corner by corner voiceover of that at the end. But this really is road racing style of brake thinking, meaning we are going to use the front brake massively, extensively, primarily, right? The physics still apply. When we brake on a motorcycle, the weight's going to go to the front. The rear tire is going to have very little weight, therefore very little grip, so it's not going to have a lot of force to apply braking. So the front brake is going to be where the lap time comes from. Just cruising around with you guys, where I catch you is on the brakes because you're not using the front brake. So impending lockup. Remember what that is? We always want the tire going just slightly more or less than the racetrack is going underneath it. So if the ground is coming by at 35 miles an hour, we want I'm making a number up. We want the front tire going a mile an hour or two slower than that. Impending lockup, it's about ready to lock up. That's where lap time is made. Not locked up, you'll instantly tuck the front and kiss the ground. Don't want to do that. So inch up to these things. But yes, you use the front brake a lot. Rear brake will just add in for spice. Um, that's another great question that I got that I hadn't thought of before. Somebody pulled me aside and said, what do we do about the rear brake going into a right-hander? Thinking that we want to get our foot out flat track style into the left-hand corners, but what do we do into the right-hand corners? And I'll tell you, that's a darn good question. You're going to have to keep your foot up as you're trail braking, right, the more the bike leans over, the less you can use rear brake. So conversely, as you're getting ready to stand the bike up, you're done braking, you can kind of trail off of the rear brake. Then you can take your foot and put it down for the very middle portion of the corner. Um, yeah, it's a little weird. Maybe if you had a thumb brake or a secondary brake lever where you could ride flat track style with the foot out or put the brake lever on the left. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you want to use brakes, so it's a bit of a compromise. You sort of get used to it. If you ever watch supermoto racing, you'll see the guys do that. Some of the road race guys use the rear brake too. I think they talk about using it more than they use it, but it's a topic for another video. Yeah, so right-handers, yeah, it's going to be a little strange. It's going to be slightly a different application of controls and foot up down time. You actually you'll learn as you get more and more skilled. Your foot doesn't really need to be down as much as you might think. Um, the peculiarities of riding at different tracks, particularly if there's a bunch of riders there, as the track gets worn in, you can develop ruts. And we're not racing motocross or riding motocross or trail riding, so we want to avoid that. Obviously, prepping a racetrack is very difficult, so it takes a lot of time out of the evening. There's a lot of work on the people running the show, so we have to expect that to happen a little bit. You can mitigate that by running as close to a slick as you can. A road race rain tire is about as aggressive as tread you need. It's really easy to get some more, what do they call it, venture style tires, Bridgestone Trail Wings or some of the Shinkos. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but they're real blocky, large, sharp edged treads. That's great for grip, but it tears the track up and creates ruts. And that's really not what we're trying to do. We're trying to work the front of the motorcycle, work the rear of the motorcycle, find the edge of traction and go over it a little bit. When you're riding in a rut, you're ostensibly you're like a train on a track. You are going to go where the rut is, or you're going to have big problems. So there really is no slide. There is really no working the contact patch. It's another style of riding. Fun, but not what we're doing. So I would avoid the ruts and just find the line, even if it's not the fastest line around the racetrack. It's more fun, and you're learning something. And then just wait until the next downtime. They prep the track, and they'll probably get rid of some of those ruts for you. So that's the basics of what we'll be doing today. So yeah, stick around now, and I'll go over for a little bit of corner by corner voiceover on some of the things to look out for. First of all, this is just an amazing facility. Think of a fisheye lens here, a little bit of distortion, but I'll go point by point here in a moment. First, I just wanted to say thank you so much to the Slide Ranch for the invitation and the really insane amount of effort you put in to this facility. Your passion for the sport reinvigorates me. So, yeah, guys, if you get a chance to go check out the Slide Ranch, the pittance they charge to ride, uh, heck, it's just great just to go hang out with such nice people. So definitely take a look at that. I believe on Facebook is where you find them. All right, let's look at a couple of spots here. There's tons of configurations. What they'll be running when you're there, it's hard to say. This is the one I'll be talking about today, and we'll be talking about going clockwise in this direction. So at the end of this arrow will be the first hard braking zone we'll talk about. This can be deceiving, and this camera lens, it looks like it's big. This is a tight corner. Want to stand the bike up on the nose there, front brake. Here's another one going into this left-hander, a little bit uphill, can really brake a lot harder than you think. And lastly, this is the long straightaway ending in a tight right-hander. We really want to maximize threshold braking on the front end. Tons of lap time to be had by doing that. So hope you have a great time if you go. Thanks for watching.